Coming up on this episode of The Brain Drain Show.
I want something like Iron Mountain. I want to be like, rock solid. I want to sound reliable. However, what I did not realise, I also sounded like a Viagra company. You've had Skin, Don Brown, Mackie, Carl Shipman. I was like, I don't fit in that group. So I thank you very much for inviting me. He skated off, fell off the curb and knocked himself out and was in a coma. When I got an email from George Powell, I was like, oh man, what's it like to land a McTwist? And he's like, oh, sorry kid, I can't do a McTwist. I love you, Pig Dog. My friend always said to me, you always read the small print. I don't know what that means. George Powell comes in and I'm nervous. I'm like, it's a big deal. Oh my goodness. It was all going quite well till the 2008 financial crash. I just ran rock solid from this 2-bed flat. I worked 7 days a week. We were one of the first distributors to have a Facebook or a Twitter or Instagram. That is the rock and rock solid. I don't think I'm a collector. I think I'm a hoarder. And I think skateboarding is the most positive it's ever been, Bobby Pulio will still be skating cellar doors. Thank you. Cheers, guys.
Good evening, welcome to another great episode of The Brain Drain Show with me, Forde Brookfield. Joined to my left is my trusty co-host, Toby Batchelor, and to your left, Toby, who is it?
It's Wes.
It's Wes from here. Rock Solid. Round of applause in the studio audience, please.
Wes Morgan.
Thank you very much for having me.
Oh yeah. Thank you very much for coming all this way and bearing gifts.
A pleasure. It's a pleasure.
Thank you very much.
And thank you for letting me skate your skate park.
That's right.
Anytime.
Can we put the clips in here?
You do that, but I never put them in.
Just me again.
You never put them in.
Like a right prat. The first question I would just... Can I do this first one?
That's kind of the routine now,
yeah.
isn't it? Is you start it off.
Your accent is so West Country strong. Where are you from originally?
I'm from Bristol originally.
So it's a proper Bristol...
It's a Bristolian accent.
How do the
Bristol.
When you go over to the US and speak to your brands, how do they find your accent?
I have to for one, I can't say Wes because it's Wes.
Right.
They say
right,
Wes.
Yeah.
And my mum actually calls me Wesley. But everyone calls me Wesley.
Yeah.
But in America it's Wesley. So I just say I sort of change that. I try and be probably a little bit slower, but I'm very much aware I have a very strong Bristolian accent.
I thought you were going to say you were further out of Bristol, in the sticks kind of.
It does sound. You're saying
strong.
I sound like a farmer, which is.
No, I'm not saying that. But...
Say tractor.
Tractor.
Oh,
I had to think.
I wanted him to go tractor. Tractor.
But I understand what you're saying. Hopefully they find it, charming. Yeah. But I'm sure I have to sort of. So sometimes they think people in America think I'm Australian as well.
I find it really weird with the Americans because I don't know what TV shows they watch, but they almost expect everyone to be like, "Oh, hello, I'm British." They expect everyone to talk like that, and then when you go there, and you're like, "You're right, mate. How you doing?" And they're like, "Oh my god, where are you from?"
Yeah.
But they also get really offended if you think they're Canadian.
Yeah. I'd probably try and speak a little bit slower, and not sound so Bristolian, but I'm going to sound really Bristolian, and especially if I have a drink, I'd sound even more Bristolian.
We'll come back to all the distro and brands and stuff, but let's go back to when you first started skating and give us a bit of your history within skating.
My history, I started skateboarding in 1988 in Bristol.
Yeah.
In the Downend.
In the Downend, which is a suburb of Bristol.
What's it like growing up and making it out of the Downend?
What is the Downend?
Downend is a suburb in Bristol. It's just like a typical British suburb. It's very just as 2.4 kind of 1930s, I guess, that kind of area, that sort of time when it was built. But so that just a very as British and as normal as as whatever normal is. So I started skating there, and I think a friend had I remember like on his like a brother's board with quick tonics on it, and I thought, oh, this is fun, and then asked my mum, my birthday was coming up, so I want to get a skateboard, and she got me a skateboard from Toys R Us, and I was like,
Which one was it?
it was I think it had like, it was yellow and pink and had like OK on it, and I liked it that you could like, I painted it and kind of got some stickers and jazzed it up a little, and like it was that '88 kind of boom, like Back to the Future, definitely like Police Academy 4.
Your favourite era, isn't it? You love talking
It was
about
such, I mean, nostalgia is quite a funny thing, but it was a nice time to be skating, wasn't it? Because there wasn't that many of us, and
yeah, but I think at that point, I guess there was a kind of a boom at that point.
yeah, because of Back to the Future, Police Academy 4, and what else? Gleam in the Cube.
Gleam in the Cube, and like yes, and like so basically, the Bones Brigade was happening, and that was like the first video I ever got. Like it was on. I'm really showing my age. It was on Betamax, and it was Future Primitive, and
No, I've never seen a Betamax in the flesh.
Really,
I don't think I have.
And I'm 33 as well, so I thought maybe I would have seen one, but
I should have brought one with me today.
you still got them.
I've got Street Skating with Robin Natus on Betamax.
Whoa, I've got it on VHS somewhere. What was the deal with Betamax? Was it like there was VHS, Betamax, and they were both? It was two formats, basically essentially the same. But one brand have Betamax as their kind of like their proprietary. They were trying to do everything on Betamax, but it didn't work because maybe another brand had VHS and they pushed that more. It's something like that, wasn't it?
This is the rumor I'd heard, and I don't know if it's true or not. But so Betamax was the better quality.
Yeah,
and it was like smaller. I remember my dad saying, bought Betamax because it's smaller tapes, and that's going to be it's definitely going to be the thing. It's better quality. But the porn industry was on VHS,
and that's what swung it.
And that's what swung it. That's the. I mean, who knows? Who knows if that's true or not?
That's what swung
it. But yeah, so Future Primitive was the first video, and that was like that blew my mind basically. And and I had a nice like group of friends who were all skating. And then the first kind of proper board I got, I was very lucky. I got to go to Florida when I was like 10, and I got a board, like a Mike McGill board with G-bones and gull wings, and that was
now it's gone full circle, and you're now the UK distributor.
I know, and I still have to pinch myself. I still cannot believe that, like, when the first now I'm name dropping like 10 minutes into this. When I got an email from George Powell, we were sort of trying to sort of seal the deal with we're working with Skate One. Like I sent him, I've still got my first board, which is
sick.
Hanging up in Rock Solid, and I sent him a photo, and I said it's autographed by Tony Hawk, and it's like this is the first board I ever had, proper board I ever had, and then that kind of which is nuts. And then basically, you got your sort of little group of friends, and then you start getting 89, 90. Like I'm in senior school. No one at this point, all my friends are kind of like, actually they were still skating a bit. They just didn't get the same senior school, but no one in my school skated. And we started going in, skating Bristol city centre more. Like there was a skate shop called Rollermania, who had two amazing indoor ramps. One was called Pink Palace, which is like a spine, which was I only went there once or twice. Sorry, I'm going all over the place, but there's a funny story. Well, it's not that funny, but there's a story about Bill Danforth. Came to skate Pink Palace, and it was kind of like I was kind of too young to pick up on it, but it was basically kind of sort of crusty, kind of like squat, kind of it was the early days of rave, so that was probably happened there a lot. But I was very naive and didn't know what was going on. But Bill Danforth came over for, I can't remember, Life's a Beach or BBC or whatever it was.
I think it was. Oh fuck! I'm going to say BBC.
I think it was BBC because there was a Life's a Beach shop in Downend actually, where I weirdly enough. So I think he came over for that, and he was really drunk skating the Pink Palace, and then I think he must have had a good session, and then he skated off and fell off a curb and knocked himself out. And was in a coma for maybe not in a coma, but he was in hospital for days because he knocked himself out.
Did you rob his Doc Martin boots off
Yeah,
his feet?
I did not. I can't believe we're talking about Bill Danforth. Actually, I actually met him. Maybe it wasn't that. Maybe he came back the next year, and like I think it was like the first pro skater I ever met, and I was like, oh man, like I've just been watching Future Primitive and assumed every pro skater could do a McTwist. And
You kind of do when you're young. You just
Yeah.
assume that you drop in and just do a McTwist. It's
yeah, you
no
watch it on
warm-up.
video, they can
Yeah.
do it. And he was a pro skater.
Yeah.
So I asked him, like,
Can you do McTwist?
I was like, oh man, what's it like to like land a McTwist? And he's like, oh sorry kid, I can't do a McTwist. I like doing slash grinds and pulls and shit. I was like, okay. It's kind of like
I think that's when Danforth was over for that. I'm assuming it was the same time they came to Nottingham.
Yeah.
To skate the ramp snakes.
Hmm.
So
I think
it's like
it would have been, yeah.
either 86 or 88. It would have been 88, I guess, because you didn't start. To
I think it was late, like
89.
Yeah, because Lysa. So
Yeah, it
let
would've
me have a
been
look.
later.
So I started in '88. I reckon it was might have been 90. Because I think
Yeah.
I got a feeling like because they had basically like there was a Lysa Beach shop in Downend, and weirdly like for some reason Bristol has lots of distribution companies. I think they were the distributor for Lysa Beach and BBC, the Bad Boy Club,
Yeah.
and so they may have come over a few times, but like
It would have been 90. I'm just thinking out, in my head. It was around then, I think.
yeah, so so that was but I mean that was cool. My friend to this day, Pig Dog.
Big up, Pig Dog.
Yeah,
That guy's
I love
rad.
you, Pig Dog.
Big up, Pig Dog.
Yeah. He worked in that shop, and he's quite a bit older than me. And like, I would just come in and like, bug him every day and like ask him stupid questions. I'd always, I saw like an ollie. It was called an ollie bar, and they had like it was like basically a little bit of plastic.
Yeah,
It would
yeah.
like kind of catch your foot when you would ollie. I was like, oh yeah, this is like. It was, it was like a quid or something. Oh, this is going to be amazing. This is going to change my skating. And I was convinced I learned ollie one foots because I had an ollie bar. But
Of course, they go across the front truck bolts.
yeah, so it like catch.
So
like,
everyone else was just turning their truck bolts upside down.
yeah.
But you got the proper plastic.
I
bit
got the
there.
little bit of plastic, and it probably lasted like all of a couple of sessions.
That's quite funny because that's one of the only sort of accessories that hasn't been remarketed recently. Every lappers, rails, copers, even. They should probably do that again and get some clever marketing on it. All the kids will be.
Yeah, an ollie bar. Like
Yeah.
they could hold. They'll be like
I own it.
yeah.
Just put it out there.
Wes
Yeah,
can
that could be a
distribute
whole-
it.
I'm on hold to the painting office right now.
Yeah, we could distribute it. Like it'd be
Sick.
great.
What would you call it if you had your own little ollie bars? You have to have some weed reference. We need 9 bars or something.
No, do you reckon?
Yeah.
Not cock block or something.
Fuck's sake. Right. Would you say like straight away you were like proper skate nerd right from the get go? Because obviously talking about that and bugging Pig Dog in the shop and that.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I got, it was just like, it was just me and my friends. That's all we do, and like,
Yeah.
I getting the magazine and reading every little, My friend always said to me, "You always read the small print." I don't know what that means. And then like,
Probably helped in business, right?
yeah. But yeah, and then like it was just the launch ramp era, and like I got good at doing early grabs and like and flying off the ramp and like and that was and I think I liked like I played football and stuff, but I liked it that it was just like it was on it was like a thing that you did like with your friends, but it was a solo activity.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. And I kind of like jumping off the swings and stuff like that, and like kind of I just got really into launch ramps.
Bit of a thrill seeker.
Yeah.
Could you do judo airs, early grab judo?
I could do air walks, and I could do judos, and but
I never could do air walks. I saw at Cambridge at the weekend this guy in like the don't put this in.
Who's going in?
All right, there's a guy who was in the
He
mini
says
ramp
that
jam,
every episode,
and
doesn't
he went up and just like bullshitted a south flip to fake it, and I was like, whoa!
Oh.
And he's like, I've never done one. And about 20 minutes later, he did his first ever south flip. He was probably in his 40s.
that
It's
is
like,
I could never self flip.
The
That was
self-flip's the one.
hard. Lee Dayton,
he's got
brilliant.
What video part was it where that guy did south flip to pivot fakers.
Oh,
Chad Vott.
Yeah,
Chad
High
Vott.
Street.
That's all that comes
Next
to my mind.
Generation?
Next generation.
That's all that comes to my mind when I think about him. He's doing the amount of things that South flip to whatever he did. Was
I'm all
amazing.
about I think the South Flip needs to come back. I quite like the idea of street grabs now as well. I keep winding up Hinson every time I see him. I'm like, let's see some tail grab Smith grinds or something down handrails, and he's always like, nah, fuck that.
Hinson.
So did you have your own jump ramp?
I did. I
Yeah.
had my own jump ramp, and that was huge. Going to Summerfield Car Park was Gateway at the time,
hell,
and that was I think really then like I just loved it, and then you start that was just in our little suburb, and then I was getting on the bus and going into town, and then like at that point I guess it got to the kind of like 91, 92, and that's what, as you well know, skateboarding was really small, and then Lloyds had just like I think Lloyds kind of got built in like 90 and 91, and I remember going like my friend going like, we've been to this place, it's amazing,
The
like
Mecca.
it's like E&B, and like just going there and like, oh my god, this is incredible.
Has it ever been a bust at Lloyd's?
No,
I've only been there a handful of times. You never get any issues at all. You just go there and.
I think one time there was, remember like the old New Deal tours?
Yeah.
And there was one, and it was like Paulo Diaz, Julian Stranger, Jordan Richter, and there was like there was a lot of people there, and I think it kind of weirded out the harbour master. And it was the only time they came in what's going on. But no, now there's lots of events and stuff, so sometimes you can't skate down there, but it's an amazing spot still.
Yeah.
It's a little haggard, but it's
Well, it's going to be. It's like 30.
it's very old years old.
Yeah.
Yeah, 35 years old, isn't it?
Just side noting to Paulo Diaz. He's got the best front side flipping. I don't know what chocolate video it is, but it's where he's skating to that kind of. Is it Viva? What is it?
No, it's
Viva-
Paco, isn't it? I think is it Paco?
Yeah,
Like the first chocolate video, and he's skating those benches in LA.
he does those front side. He does a front side flipping it. That's my favourite front side flip of all time.
Yeah, I know exactly. It's so steep.
And he like lands it, and he's all like his arms are everywhere. Yeah, it's amazing.
With like the first video I ever properly, I got for my birthday, was Ban This, and what I really, that's where really I was like, I liked vert skating, but it was the LA boys, so Mariano, Paulo Diaz, Gabriel Rodriguez, and Rudy Johnson. They're still my favorite skaters. Like that was really when I was like, this is amazing, and I guess I would have been like, 12. I remember my 12th birthday.
Yeah.
And I love that video's aged really well. And again, now working with Powell, it is nuts that my first skate video was that.
Just while it's on my mind, we'll go into this a bit deeper later. But when you go over to Powell to skate one, is there like a vault with all their a collection area of like a museum essentially?
I haven't there is of all their video. I definitely there's a guy that works there full time at they're sort of video archivist.
Yeah.
Of the boards and stuff, I in their factory there is there's loads of little bits and bobs. You see the kind of Powell lemons, the really small wheels and all that sort of stuff. But I was hoping there was going to be you literally open up and it's one of every board. I think they do have everything that it was ever made in every catalog, but it's not kind of they need to. That would be great if they made a museum, because I think they do have it all.
Because NHS do it, don't they? They've got that set up. I'd love to see that though. I'd love to dive into their archives and see what's knocking about. And
yeah, I'm always sort of looking at old skate mags and going you should remake that again. And I really like that kind of sort of ban this kind of propaganda 8 kind of when that era of Powell. But it would be really cool if they made a museum,
because their facility is pretty insane, isn't it? They've got in Santa Barbara.
Yeah, they've got it's a factory in kind of Ventura, which we had, when we 2 years ago, me and Leo went over when they first agreed to work with us, and it was Rob Washburn, who I knew from propaganda, so that was kind of cool, and Michael, who's one of the kind of heads at Skate One, and they gave us this tour, and it's amazing. You know, like I've never watched. You know, you go there and you're like, they're making the wheels. They're making the flight boards, and like you know, you see it's really cool, and like you know it's not often you get to see things being manufactured, and like all the the side of it you sometimes don't think too much about, and like you know then they have another like their kind of office area, and like you know I get there, and like you know you go into sort of meeting room, and then like George Powell comes in, and like I'm nervous. I'm like you know it's a big deal, and he starts sort of chatting, and then you know it's like, oh, we're gonna go over to the testing room, and then I'm in the back of his car with his dogs, and like we're going over to we have a kind of, I guess it's called R&D, and there's this guy, he's been there since the late 80s, and he just basically like you know he's getting any new product or other people's product, he's just testing it out to see the breaking points, and the, you know, how they've like developed like the dragon wheels and all this, like, so you know it's very scientific. It's like, you know, it's super interesting.
What was George by trade before? Wasn't he?
I think he's an engineer.
Right, so he's got that engineer brain, hasn't he?
Oh yeah, fully. He went to and I'm spacing, like, it's the university in, well, you have to do a lot of podcast fact check, but it's not MIT. It might be MIT. It's one of the really good universities for engineering in California.
Yeah, you want to Google that?
Yeah.
Producer.
So
George
I'm sure
Powell,
you can find
University.
out.
When are you next going over there? And when you go, can I come with you if I pay for myself? I just want to experience.
We're going. Me and Pat from work.
I just want.
I love Pat. Yeah, and it's his first time me and Pat going over to see him. So we're going to go over in March, in literally a month today.
Yeah.
So we haven't been for 2 years.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So yeah, we're going to go and you know, it's really fun. Like, we're going to go to Santa Barbara, see those guys, then see the Ace truck guys in you know, kind of like Long Beach area, and then we're going to go see the Weekend guys in LA, and then spend the kind of weekend in LA, meet up with Aaron from Small Wheels, who's really sound. Then he's really great for, like, he knows where all the cool skate spots are. And then we'll go to San Diego and see the guys from DGK, and then see the guys at Tom Yetto.
Nice.
So it's going to be fun.
Stanford. You went to Stanford.
Stanford, that was it. Thank you.
Can you send me the dates of that trip so I can gate crash it?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, you're welcome to come along.
I would. Why are you saying?
More the merrier.
I'm just a fucking skate nerd.
I know.
Like,
I mean, don't get me wrong. I would love it.
If there's a place where I can like stay on a floor or something, I'll stay anywhere for the whole trip just to get out the house.
Let's chat. Let's chat, because like we're gonna hire a car. So
I'll bring my camera and film it all, and we'll do a video for Rock Solid in the States.
Not a bad idea. Do you know what? It's not a bad idea, and it'd be really cool, because then you know, can invite, like, this is
make a skate
Forde
session
from Rollersnakes. You know, like, yeah, that could actually be really cool.
I'll message you through WhatsApp about it.
Let's chat.
There you go. Right.
Through WhatsApp. Why did you have to define that as WhatsApp? You're going to message me?
Because we chat on WhatsApp.
Yeah.
Me and you chat on text. Me and Forde chat on WhatsApp.
Yeah, you see the generation there. Text, WhatsApp. It's almost the equivalent of like email, forum, you know, like that. But it like that shit would be sick, just to kind of go and to see.
That's what I'm saying about
things are made. Like that's what I love doing. Like, I don't need to go to get anything out of it, just to literally see these people and what they do, and get a greater understanding of the thing that we all love the most, Toby.
Anyway,
but you know, it never like doing those trips. You know, I don't want to sound corny, but like I'm always, you know, pinch myself. I'm very lucky to do this.
Are you going to go to the Costco curbs as well? I've seen you been there before.
I'll hopefully meet up with Pastorus, because he's the like.
I'd love to skate those.
In the nicest way, like, you can say that everyone is skateboarding. Well, some more than others is a skateboarding nerd. So for you as well, same for me. When I go somewhere, it's got to be same for you. Like, when you go and you see these people, and you're like, doesn't matter. We've said it before. It doesn't matter how old you are. You see these people, like if you saw Lance Mountain or something, you can be 50 years old, you're going to freak out like you're a 13-year-old kid again watching him in like a Powell video, you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. And it's really cool, like, you know, especially because, we've started obviously working with some more like bigger heritage brands, but like Rock Solid really kind of started on working with smaller brands and watching them grow. So it's really cool to see like the Weekend guys and how they like. I think I was their first distributor. Like out of all in the whole world, and now like they've gone from like stuff like sending stuff out their kitchen, and then like now they've got a really cool they have actually a whole sort of distribution company, and they distribute lots of similar brands to us. So it's really cool to watch like these brands that grow into what they are now. But then then obviously you go to like these these brands have been going since the 70s, and you're like, well, oh wow, it's
so
nuts.
impressive, isn't it?
Yeah,
I know the Fancy Lad Skateboards guys. I know they're looking for UK distribution.
Because they were distributed through.
Apparently, just for a very short time through but I don't know who it were called, but this was like 10 years ago.
Yeah, it was the guy. Now I'm spacing again. Oh God, he comes and sees us. We are gonna have to cut this bit out because he's actually a really nice guy, and I can't remember his name. But yeah, I should speak to him about that actually.
From the perspective of when you're watching it as a kid to now doing it, it's got to be the most.
I mean, it's just like, it's just a trip really, and like, and it's funny. Like, I never thought of myself as a skate. I would thought of myself as I've always just loved skateboarding, and like, and then I realized like, I remember someone said to me that, "Oh, you're such a skate nerd," and I was like, kind of annoyed at the time. I was like, "I'm not a nerd," and then I was like, actually, I've kept every skate mag since I ever started. I've got every VHS still. Yeah, maybe I am a nerd, and now I've just embraced it. It's
I don't think there's anything to be ashamed of.
But I wish I kept everything that I've had through skating.
There's certain stuff I wish I'd kept. But what I was getting round to, sort of looping round to, was that you being a massive skate nerd and then being the UK distro for Skate 1, like that is full nerd level 1000.
Yeah, it's
to have that and be like,
might even be nerd level 5000.
Fuck no,
it's fucking insane.
Nothing goes like that, is it?
Yeah, Wesley's nerdery does.
Yeah, and like we'll be in like we'll be doing Zooms, and I'll be like, oh, well, we should do this shirt I've got from like Tony Hawk. I've got not that. Yeah, there's this shirt. Yeah, there's.
Have you seen that?
It'll be on the fisheye one, I think. You can probably see it.
But that was the 1990 Powell tour.
That was the 90. Yeah.
Where did you see them at?
In Bath.
The big metal vert ramp, was it?
Yeah, vert ramp. I think it had like
Tony Hawk, ponytail era.
Yeah.
I saw him on the same tour at Leon C. It was pretty good.
It was the year? Is that the year he did like back-to-back 540s?
It was.
Yeah.
Yeah. He did
like 12 or something.
Something like that, yeah.
See? Look at this fucking nerdery going on
That's
here.
good.
You can't deny
Nicky Guerrero's there.
Ray Underhill.
That's an era of skating that I wish that I got to experience.
Oh, it was so good. And I remember like just lurking around, just watching Tony Hawk like a weird child from a distance. Like
well, you look at people like that, don't you? And you're like, they're real. Like you can see them, and you're like, what?
I'm sure I've mentioned it before, but did you ever go to Leon C?
No.
So there was like a square bowl, so it was like with bold corners. That's the best way to describe it. But Tony Hawk just gets there, drops in, and frontside ollies from one wall right the way around the corner to the other one without even knowing the transition. I mean, how do you go from that to that? That you got to come 90 degrees round. And I remember seeing it and being like,
you usually see people like ollie grabbing them or boneless in them, to get that turn.
To get away from the wall. But he just frontside ollie round it. I was just like, what the fuck? And he was riding that. It was basically like twin kickboard. It was
yeah. It's the.
Was called
because he had he suddenly had like the board with like sort of like I guess did they call it the medallion board? The kind of really big nose.
First ever board that had, I think it was 6 3/4 inch nose.
Yeah,
that was the biggest nose that had ever been out at that point.
Yeah, those tours were great. So, like that. So that was when I got that T-shirt signed. That was 90 because there was one the year before, but I was probably too young to have heard about it. And then then I went to the one in Bath, and it was like. It was really, really busy. And then the next year, it was 1991, and there was hardly anyone there. Yeah. Curtis McCann was there skating, just the most beautiful mini ramp skater ever. Mike Manzori was there. Tony Hawk definitely was there. Bucky the Zach was there. He did Ollie Impossible nose stool, which I remember was amazing. It was a bit drizzly. Yeah, that was. But there was, it was literally like skateboarding was diving. But I was getting more and more into it, and like it was. I do remember like, wow, there's hardly anyone here, and then it was kind of like, yeah. Then I guess that was going into kind of like '92 when it was really really small. But then we would go to Bath quite a bit actually, and that was actually a really nice time when, because it was so small. Like I first met Paul Carter from Swindon, like there would be like Danny Wainwright from Stroud. There would be like Tom Penny would come down from Oxford and Scamp. Have you ever remember Scamp? Then Flynn and like Flynn Trotman, and yeah, it was kind of Bath was a good kind of place to meet lots of skaters from sort of surrounding areas. And I remember sort of saying, oh, we sort of all took, the parents' phone numbers and whatnot, and like everyone would kind of be like, oh, let's go to Bristol, like, and then Bath sort of fell out of favour a little bit. We go to Bristol, and then that's when we go street skating, and there was barely anyone skating, but there was a lot of us, but they were from Gloucester, or they're from Stroud, or they're from Bath, or wherever. So it's like it was a nice way of meeting lots of people, like
yeah, for sure,
who are really into skating.
How were the Lloyds ledges when it was first done? Were they, because obviously
they were like
rounded out now.
Yeah. I mean, you look at it now, like they're. I mean, it's still really good to skate now, but like then, like they were just they were brand new, and they were just a lot squarer, and like.
Who was the first person to start doing stuff down the Big Three?
That was one of the questions. Who was the first person to even ollie it?
See, like
it's got to be Wainwright, surely.
No, I think it was Carter.
How was it?
I'm 99.9% sure it was Carter. I think Pig Dog has a claim that he may have been second or third. Like I remember I used to be able to I can't anymore, but like I'm pretty sure Joe Habgood was the first to hill flip them.
I think that's true.
I'm pretty sure.
A couple of times, yeah.
Yeah. Matt Pritchard was probably the first to kick flip them. I believe.
What did Wainwright do down? I mean,
Danny did so like there was that
melon down him.
Oh, like he would have like. Danny did so much down them. I mean, Danny could tray flipped them. Like, well, I mean, Danny did loads of tricks down them. Definitely tray flipped them. But I'm trying to think what he did first. It might have been Solomon was the first to switch ollie them and switch 180 them. Cardiel did a Benny Harner down them. Like what else? Like, I mean, Flynn definitely did quite a few tricks. I'm space. Stalker. Like, I mean, Karan is obviously the.
Done everything, yeah.
It's the king of that. In my opinion, the best like trick that ever was done at Dan Lloyd's was Karan's switch backside 360 ollie. I guess it's such a skinny run up.
Yeah.
It's such a hard trick. It's they're big to ollie. Like I've got a dream that I'm going to ollie on my. I haven't ollied them since I was about 18. I've got a dream I'm going to do on my 50th birthday. I think that might be just a dream, but yeah, like it's I mean everyone knows Karan's the king.
Well, it's Karan's spot,
and Leif as well. Leif's switch 360 flip is incredible, and he did it quite recently as well. And he's like mid-30s.
Yeah, Karan's switchback free. That's something else.
It's amazing. Leo shot the photo.
That's a long time ago as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it was probably like 15 years ago.
Just imagine doing a back three, then imagine doing a switch back three, just like
down
off something, and then doing it down Lloyd's.
Just thinking about like Solomon. How do you say his name?
Solomon.
Solomon. Doing the switch ollie, because it was the photo in Rad as well, wasn't it? I think. And
it was the New Deal tour.
His wheels.
Yeah, like that's 92.
A switch ollie down that. I mean, that was before anyone kind of knew what switch was really.
He just like he had that. I think that real video had just come out.
Yeah,
like he'd been to Bristol previously. Him and Rick Ibaseta.
Yeah.
But it rained, and so we just like hung out with them in Rollermania, which was really cool. And like that was when it like shaved head, Ben Davis, like that whole kind of
removable plaster cast.
Yeah, he always had the plaster cast on. Like I remember that was cool. So that kind of probably was earlier on. Maybe that was like early like 92, and then he came back in the summer, and then like we'd watched at that point. Then like because I think he had an interview in Rad where he did like it was like Switch 50 down like that little Hubbard in a Shell Centre.
Yeah.
In London. So, but then that's unbelievable. And Cardio on the same trip, ollied from first into third bowl at Dean Lane, which is nuts, absolutely nuts.
Yeah, that tour was like Milk, Consolidated, Black Label.
Yeah, because Alan Peterson was on it. Yeah.
I saw them again, Leon C. When Cardio was doing scream. He was ollie and transferring from the midi to the vert and like screaming midair while doing it. And it's just like, what the fuck is going on here? My mum was there like, what's going on here?
Oh no!
Why are they making such a racket?
We
big up Pat Batch.
Yeah, big up Toby's sexy mum.
Don't put that in.
It's going in.
Oh my goodness. The youth club I was in went to we followed that tour, so we went from Bristol, and the youth club kindly took us to it was in Harrow. I think it was the last day of the trip. And Cardio, it was a poster in Rad actually, and he was doing like a kind of nose bone from bowl to bowl.
Yeah.
And you can see skin in the must be taking another photo for like another mag or something.
Maybe we'll find that photo in the archives when we go down to see skin.
Oh,
are we allowed to mention that?
We've not. How much do you want to mention about the 40th anniversary with Rollersnakes and what we're doing?
Is this time to get into it now?
Yeah, go on. Then. You take it away.
I don't really know how to segue into that.
We already have.
Oh, okay.
Well,
we're doing loads of stuff.
We're going to go to on one of them. We're going to pop down to Skins, look through his archive. What is it? We're going to pick 5 pictures each, unseen pictures of from magazines and whatnot.
Yeah, unused photos from the archives to do an exhibition here in May.
That's cool.
Along with, what was it, 360, the other one, the exhibition he did down in Swansea. It'll be that with extras here, which will be good. So there'll be a little documentary about us nerding out through Skin's stuff.
Yeah, I mean, Skin's a bit, I've been chatting with Skin over the years since he's been back, and I love he's come up and met me a few times, and I was just saying that he sat on gold. I know Neil McDonald's Science versus Life has been going down to archive his stuff
because he's writing a book as well, isn't he?
Yeah. I spoke to him actually, and it's really interesting what he's doing because he's a proper journalist, archivist, outside of skating. Yeah. And he's just decided to take all this, basically quit all this kind of proper job
and
work on this book. But I mean, it's pretty amazing. It's about skateboarding, but just about the culture and he was really interested in because we were talking about because Bristol's kind of known for sort of drum and bass and stuff, but in the mid-90s, skaters kind of really didn't really listen to drum and bass that much. I mean, DJ Dye was a part of Represent and was a skater, an amazing skateboarder. But he was really interested in the sort of subcultures and stuff. It's it was really cool chatting with him, and I think this book's going to get really in the weeds on that. And he really wants to get photos of people, just not just kids hanging out and what they were wearing and what they're into, and and just kind of build this sort of picture. I mean, obviously it's around skateboarding, and around British skateboarding. But yeah, he's a smart guy. I'm looking forward to seeing that book.
He's interviewed Paul. I'm sure he has for the book. So
I mean, Paul was Paul's been in it for so many years. I mean, so what regarding kind of Paul and the Rollersnakes video, I loved that. That 540. Was it his? Was that him filming it, or was that
him and his brother? Wasn't it?
Brother Lee, yeah. Who was I talking to the other day?
Alex Mole's part in that is amazing.
Yeah, it's really good. Who was it? I can't remember who I was talking to the other day. It was Leo. I was talking to Leo, and he said he remembers Milton Keynes back in the day, Paul skating around filming with a big VHS camcorder, filming all the stuff at Milton Keynes. But yeah, I mean, Paul's full. I mean, he's pretty much skate nerd as well. He's been in it that long.
Yeah.
He's
sometimes he'll just come in and break out stories out of nowhere.
He's got some.
And he'll just
stories.
be this time when every time the Gons would visit for a couple of weeks, a month, we'd stay at my house and he'd stay with me and we'd go to these ramps, and I was like, fucking, I didn't even know any of this. But he would just come in and drop knowledge on you about something.
Am I right in saying that in the last part of the video days, they're skating the Rollersnakes mini ramp,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And the Gonz is doing like nose blunts on the ramp.
Yeah.
These would have been some of the first nose blunts on video,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, like, I won't get into it too much now, but like, over the years, Rollersnakes has received some stick and for not being skater owned and stuff like that. But like, I mean, Paul used to skate as a dabble when the park was built out here.
He had a roll around last year and we're doing some slashes about.
But more importantly, Paul has always loved skateboarding and like all the ridiculous things that we sort of come up with ideas for events.
Yeah.
And Paul's like, yeah.
Obviously, if we say something to him and give him the idea and we think this is how, like, we think it's going to turn out like this, he's fully invested in it.
Yeah.
He could shut any of it down.
And then, obviously, Paul has sold the business to us now.
Yeah. So tell us about that.
Yeah, let's clear that up for all of the forum enthusiasts.
It's called an EOT, Employee Ownership Trust. So we've set up a trust, and Paul sold it to the trust, and so every employee at Rollersnakes now owns Rollersnakes.
That's amazing.
So it's owned by staff and it's skateboarders.
Yeah, so it's skater owned more than ever. But yeah, I mean, Paul could have sold it to whoever, the highest bidder. But he's kept it here with us.
So over, like, I don't know, 5-10 years,
it will be ours entirely. Yeah,
that's amazing.
Yeah, we've got a few years to pay him off, and that.
Yeah.
There's quite a lot of work to do, but it's like he could have just been like, "No, fuck it, I'm selling it to some investment capital firm."
Yeah.
That's the thing. He could have thought about it and been like, right, this takes me 4 or 5 years to recoup what I think or what I need. But this guy over here is just saying, I'll give you that off the bat and a little bit more. I'm just going to go with him. And then we could have came into work a month later and it could have been like, look, listen,
we don't need
this is what new companies come in.
Yeah.
They don't need you as staff. But
it's
sold it on. And obviously we all had little meetings about it. And it's like, now all of you own parts of Rollersnakes or partnerships with Rollersnakes, which is quite exciting as well.
That's really cool.
Yeah. I mean, for me personally, like, Rollersnakes was always the place I mail ordered from. Like, first ever set of bearings was NMBs from the ad in Rad, to going full circle to like, working here and being on the trust and stuff. So it's pretty rad.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And he knows it's going to be in really good hands, and and it's just awesome for you guys to like take this like legacy and for another like 40 years. It's like
But we're doing an exhibition, a 40-year exhibition in June, the night of Distro Day.
Oh, wicked.
That's the opening night.
Oh, that's cool.
So there'll be all the archives, because we've got a lot of archives.
I think we're doing the thingy as well, aren't we? Like, we're doing like a little video to kind of explain the situation.
Yeah, there'll be a press release.
To go to like the old shop units and where they were and talk about the history and Paul, and then like obviously the videos leading into the creation of the magazines and then the online changes and all that stuff. So
yeah,
like,
it's a pretty good story.
When we started this as well, and I was putting it like in the forums, I was like, who do people want to hear from? And a lot of people were saying Paul. Yeah. And every time I'd say like, Paul, people want to hear from you, he's just like, nah.
Because he's a very, inward person who keeps himself to himself. And I don't,
sometimes you think he'd want to kill you when he walks in. But like then, like you said, he's quiet. And then sometimes when you get him on a subject, he'll tell you about, like I said, this time with the guns, or this time when Vision was going to Blind and they were all here and they were staying with him and he was going to them. And
he's been in it a long time.
I think it's because he's not openly sat and spoke about it. Every time I see him, I can ask him something, and
you've got to get him on this. Perfect.
I learn more.
I think he'd want to. Anyway, so Rollersnakes is skate around. Next thing. What are we on to next?
Well, we were kind of brushing on Bristol. So you lived on the outskirts of Bristol. Did you eventually move into like the centre of Bristol?
Yeah, I mean, basically, it wasn't. It's not even the out. It's kind of just like a suburb of Bristol. I guess, kind of outskirts. I guess.
How far via bus?
Bus. 20 minutes.
Yeah.
20 minutes on the bus, basically, to the city centre.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went. Well, this is because I saw obviously you guys had Daiki on, so I moved to Cardiff for uni, and that was really cool. And I knew I knew all the Cardiff skaters because like Pritch and all those guys would come to Bristol, so that was cool. And then I moved back to Bristol after uni, and then lived in the centre, and I've always kind of lived pretty central now. I still live pretty central, but yeah, I mean, obviously, like Bristol is always punched above his weight in terms of UK sort of skate scene. I always feel, and like,
Well, that was one of the questions here, and obviously someone helped out with those questions as well about Bristol always having a pretty high standard of skating level.
Always has
and
done,
it's
hasn't it?
very kind of like what was the question here? What do you think inspired the Bristol scene to be out? Is because it always had a very Eastern exposure feel to it.
I would like. It's interesting isn't it, with Bristol, because I think I put it down to having a sort of a strong skate scene for a couple of reasons. Like one, like Shiner, like Shiner.
Yeah, you've had the industry there for a long time.
Yeah,
haven't you?
since like the 70s. And then I think that, having like Dean Lane, like like in the 80s was huge.
Mhm.
There wasn't many skate parks in the southwest, so it would be a huge, like at weekends it was like in the kind of late 80s there was like hundreds of kids there. And
Mhm.
also Rollermania, it'd been a skate shop there since the kind of late 70s, early 80s, I believe. And Tony really, Tony Coffey, who owned Rollermania, he had a huge influence because he would bring like Eric Dressen over, like I mean Mark Gonzalez and like Jason Lee. It's the reason why like Bristol is in Video Days.
Yeah.
And I think that that was great. Like that was obviously a huge kind of effect on the scene. Skateboard magazine was there as well. So people, the sort of Bristol locals were in that a lot. And then obviously like after that, there was the Rollermania ramps. So this was the indoor ramps just off Park Street, and then there was another indoor ramp that Tony had made in Redcliffe in Bristol, all very central locations. And then like lots of tours would go there because of Lloyds, and then like 50/50 opens up in 1997. Like the Eastern exposure kind of thing, I always put down, like Danny was very influenced, I think, from Sub-Zero, Eastern Exposure, Zoo York, like really kind of, I think that kind of mid-90s, I think the whole UK scene was influenced by that type of skating, because it was more relatable than the schoolyards of California.
Well, architecturally, it's just the roughness of the spots in the street, isn't it? That's why those videos kind of translate well here, and footage translates well there.
Also, I think coming from an outsider's point of view, like Bristol, because of Danny Wainwright, he was getting coverage in 4-on-1 and stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't know who was filming him at the time.
Preston would P-Stone.
For me, you'd see like the footage of Wainwright, and it was all shot on VX1 Mark 1 setup, and it looked rad, and all the clips looked really good, and that kind of like, I don't know, from an outsider's point of view, that really elevated Bristol. It was like, this looks sick.
Yeah,
it looks really good.
Yeah, I mean, like that 411 section was filmed by Anthony. Can we cut this back?
Not Claravel.
Yeah, Anthony Claravel.
Right, okay.
Sorry.
So did he come over and film that just with Danny?
That 4-on-1 part was filmed by Anthony Claravel, and then the Powell stuff was filmed by P-Stone.
Right. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then P-Stone was making his own like independent videos as well.
Yeah.
And that was really cool, because like I got to become friends with Preston, because like Danny would like, he had a girlfriend and stuff, would chill more in the evening. So like we go out skating, and then like I take Preston to the pub and stuff, and like I got him to come with me to Cardiff. He came on a globe tour and stuff. Like he was a really nice dude, and like he used to come to Bristol. I mean, he came to Bristol quite a few times. So and I agree with what you're saying. Like, so Danny,
it just kind of elevated it, because the rest of the UK was still pretty grimy. No one had that setup for filming, so it fitted in really well with all the sick footage and clips you see on 4-on-1. And then it was, Bristol, and it's like, whoa, so it's good.
Yeah, Danny, like just an amazing skateboarder. And if you
Yeah.
look, that 4-on-1 section is
good.
good, and it really. I watched it quite recently actually. It holds up.
Does he do a tray flip melon grab out of the kicker at Bath as
Yeah.
well? Yeah, I remember that. I was like, fucking hell, that's good.
This is hard.
Yeah. I mean, he's still got it. He's got some skills, hasn't he?
And then then we'd have people like kind of move into Bristol. There was like a period when Mike Manzori lived here, and Vaughan, Mark Channer, Alan Rushbrook. That was a really cool. That was around about sort of 96. That was a really cool time. And then there was a new indoor skate park called Skate and Ride, which was kind of more of a BMX park, but like had a vert ramp and stuff.
Yeah.
So there's all, we've been very lucky that there's a lot kind of going on, and like we're always lucky that tours came through here, probably because of Lloyds, and like so people knew they could get good photos and footage. There was all those big Osiris tours. Yeah, we've been very lucky to have some of the most like famous skateboarders of all time come to Bristol.
Yeah.
And because of the strong scene, then it kind of like it brings people from other cities to live here, basically.
Yeah, absolutely.
What was it when? So you said you went to uni in Cardiff and then you moved back to Bristol. How old was you then, and who was like dominating the scene at that time?
Well, like Stalker, like Matt Keel, like he amazing skateboarder, so like amazing switchback side Smiths and backtails, and like he was really, really good. It's really sad what like he basically he jumped because he hurt himself. Matt, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that he ran and jumped off like a wall and blew out his heel, and like and just couldn't really like skate anymore.
Oh, that sucks.
Like I mean he was on Raza Libra and like did like a truck on Venture, like I think he was on S. Like he was really coming up.
Yeah.
And like I think he was kind of like when he blew his heel out, I think he was getting to a little bit across. He was probably like early, probably mid-20s or something, probably slightly younger. Getting to that little crossroads where people are like, oh, what am I, am I going to keep doing this or like, and I think that happened, and then he ended up moving to Australia, and like I think he still skates with his kids and stuff. But if you see his footage, it's really really good.
Yeah.
And then kind of like Karan would have been just slightly as Stalker was probably slightly fading out. Karan was then coming up, and Karan would have been like, I don't know, 14 or 15, and like just incredible like young kid, and like I think he got a Nike when he was like 16 or something like that. He was riding for East, and like that was a really cool time, and like in Bristol because it was like a sort of slight changing of the guard, and like. Yeah, I think Carter would have been definitely Carter would have been living in Bristol at that point. Flynn was definitely living in Bristol, so there was a real, there was, for us
just a solid scene.
Yeah, of
solid
pro
scene.
skateboarders, like like Flynn was definitely would have been pro at that point. There's it's and then one person I hadn't mentioned, but who was a huge influence on everyone in Bristol, and it was Specs. Which is, he had such an amazing style, which is, it's gone full circle because Specs is Bear Miles' dad. And Bear is like he's my favorite. He's such a
mini Specs. He's just, he's amazing.
Yeah. And like, and it is, and because I think skating now is like Specs could have been like, I think it was a lot harder in that kind of like, late 80s, like to become like a professional skateboarder, and like especially you probably had to go to the US, and like and Specs probably didn't want to do that, but like now Bear can be in Bristol, he still travels quite a bit, but he's based here, and like he rides for he's pro on Yard Sale, and like rides for Converse, and like like Bear is the I love Bear, and like it's amazing.
He's an original, isn't he?
Yeah, like such a cool style, and like very very original, amazing surfer as well. And that's and his brother Gil was super cool. So it's just I've literally known him since he was a little kid. It's really awesome to see. Like looked up to his dad, and now now look, now
Yeah,
I'm
he's
like, wow,
incredible.
this is really cool.
Yeah,
He just looks good, doesn't
yeah,
he?
yeah.
Yeah.
He's definitely got a unique style. And
Yeah.
you know it's him when you see the clip straight away. You know the way he does it is.
Definitely, he's got that magic.
And he's
Whatever that-
loyal to yard sale as well. Like I heard ages ago that he got asked to ride for Baker,
Yeah, I
like
heard the same.
direct as well, and he was just like, I just want to skate for my mate's brand,
Yeah.
and that's it. Like that's
Yeah, I heard like this again. This might be not completely true, but I heard Reynolds hit him up.
yeah, direct.
Like,
yeah,
I was like, yeah, do you want to get some
Get some
Baker
boards.
boards?
he was just like, I just want to skate for my mate's brand.
Yeah,
I mean, it's really nice to hear that kind of loyalty, isn't it? Like that is good stuff. You know he's a solid human if he's. Like,
yeah, definitely. And
Thinking
like yard
like that.
sale, like I think
Yeah.
like hook them up really well. And
They are
obviously
crushing it at the moment
Yeah.
as well. A load of product launches in like Japan and stuff. I think they're quite known overseas and stuff like that as well.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like,
Yeah.
like in Seoul and in like he gets to travel like into Japan and Seoul and like he's currently in Australia. He's with the rerun guys
Mhm.
who also are like they shared some office space at Rock Solid with us. Kind of just like during the pandemic, I kind of got to know those guys, and they're like awesome. Like I don't want to call them kids because they're not. They're like 27 now, but they're
Yeah.
awesome young men.
Yeah.
And, yeah, Toby and Wilford are great guys, and they were really cool when they were like in the office. And they're like, so basically, Rerun is a sort of vintage clothing kind of web store that then they started making their own clothes and remaking like clothes and making bags and all that sort of stuff. And they need a little bit of space, so I was like, oh yeah, why don't you have some space here? And they did really, really well. But like it's like the vintage clothing market is hard, and like so they kind of got screwed over by one of those SEO marketing companies when they're like, you got to pay us X amount each month, and we're going to get you high up on the Google, and like it kind of messed all their algorithm up, and like they were really good at doing like reels and stuff. Yeah, it was real sad to see that, but like now they're coming back and they got their own. They're making their own clothes, and Toby has been in Australia and like sourcing stuff. So that's
Nice.
cool to see. And Bear's very much, he's like that. That's like it's like best friends.
Yeah, yeah. Let's talk about Rock Solid. What was the situation that made you think I want to be a skateboard distributor? Run us through the whole process.
Like, yeah, I mean, it's definitely more luck than judgment. So what happened was basically I did a degree in stage management in film and theatre in Cardiff. Got back to Bristol, kind of did a bit of work in there, but it was quite hard trying to get like consistent work and like and to be honest, like I just wanted to get like I was in debt and I just wanted to basically just skate and earn some money. So I got like a sales job at a publishing company, and it was kind of cool money, but like it was quite boring, but it was fun. My friend Guthrie worked there who skated, and yeah, it was good times. And then like my friend Ross Cottingham, who started at a Step. So basically Ross had like been in America for a bit, and I can't remember exactly how this happened, but it was a time when like the Z Boys film came out, and basically they one of the Z Boys, not any of the famous ones, started. I'm trying to think of it. I'm spacing on his name.
One of their cousins.
He was connected, but like he wasn't a famous. It wasn't Jay Adams or something like that. But anyway, he started like this shoe brand called like Z Boy shoes. Basically, like were like Van slip-ons, and like it started. Me and Ross have been friends since we were like sort of 16, 17. Actually, Ross got me my first job in the Levi shop, so Ross has been helping me out throughout my whole life. But Ross was like, he was more into music and stuff. He wasn't like really skating in his 20s, but he just basically started speaking to this guy. Thought, there could be a market for like Z Boy shoes, and then came back to the UK and started sort of telling me about what he was doing, and I was like, he was definitely like really like kind of really knew what was going on in the skate, and I was like, oh well, Stereo's just left their like giant at the time. They're like, you should see if Stereo wants to work with you, because like, you know, I kind of thought Z-Boy. I'm not sure if Z-Boy Shoes is going to work, but but Stereo was definitely making a strong comeback, and then sorry, I'm realizing I'm going to give you a very long version of it, quite a simple story. And anyway, like, so basically, he ended up speaking to Stereo. Stereo, like, Pastras was also working for Kangol at the time, so he happened to be coming over to London, and me and Ross met him, and me and Chris went like skating at Kennington, and you know, like, I'm just doing a very regular job, and like, just like, I'm getting to skate with Chris Pastras. This is great. I'm probably like 27, 28. And like, me and him got on well, had a good session, and he decided that, yeah, he was gonna, like, he would allow Outstep to distribute Stereo. And then I was like, oh, Ross, you know, like, there's another brand that, like, they've just left Girl. It's like called Diamond Supply Co. We should like I reckon I remember calling them from the like. My job was kind of hard. I couldn't leave work till I'd made like 60 calls a day. Like, so everyone had gone. I had like not made. I was like, right, I've got to make a few more calls. And I called just the number I'd seen, like, well, on their website or whatever. So I called Diamond Supply Co. And this lovely man called Reggie Destin, who sadly died, actually. He died skating he was skating at night in Chicago and got ran over. He's a really, really lovely man. And he was just, I sort of explained the situation, what was going on. He's like, could be a really good phone call for you. And he got back and said, yeah, we'd like to work with you. And then this is just as Diamond was just kind of like, streetwear was kind of happening, and like, it was just starting to kind of like sort of blow up. I think the Dunk hadn't come out yet. And yeah, basically, yeah, he agreed to work with us, and that was Diamond, Ace Trucks, Force Trucks, and Fillmore Wheels. And yeah, like, I basically sort of said to Ross, like, oh man, this is, you know, I'd love to get involved with this. And this is a tip for you kids. If you ever want to start a business, don't ever go to a bank and ask for a bank loan. Go, like, for a business, they'll never give it to you. Lie. And I told the bank I needed a loan to buy a car. I couldn't even drive at the time. So I went to, and I said, look, Ross, here's like, I gave him some money and like kind of invested in.
So this time you're just working with Ross, right?
Like, basically, this all happened in a short period of time, like, maybe 3 to 6 months. Like basically, like, it was sort of started to come together. Then like Ross realized that, okay, this is kind of, we got a few brands now. It's just kind of working. And I was kind of working, you know, like in the evening or taking a day off and like working on the pre-book for something, and like just kind of like, I just wanted to be involved. I knew I didn't want to be at the publishing company for the rest of my life, and I saw like a chance to do something in skateboarding, and I really kind of ran with it, basically. And it was always Ross. I was not a partner or anything like that. Like, it was Ross's company, but I just was like, well, I'll invest some money. So, you know, we got some money to buy stock, and like, and, you know, just basically kind of slowly but surely, like, started like working with them. I quit my job and started working from home. And then Ross was in Brighton at the time, so I would travel back and forth to Brighton and see those guys. And we were very, very lucky. You know, like like Diamond really started like kind of like doing well, and like like I said, they had the Diamond Tiffany Dunk, and that did really, really well, and like that really kind of elevated the brand, and people got very excited about it. And it was really, you know, it was quite expensive, but stores were selling out of it, and like, yeah, there was a kind of buzz about the brand, and that definitely helped like Outstep. And then Ross moved the business to Bristol, and yeah, it was all going quite well till the 2008 like financial crash. And then, like, you know, that was bad. You know, like so the basically the pound got really, really weak against the dollar. Like, Ross, for obvious reasons, got very nervous, and like at this point we collected quite a few brands, like the Hundreds, which was like a streetwear brand that was doing really well.
That was booming.
That was really booming. Like Brixton had me and Ross had gone to LA and we'd like, we just bought some. I bought a Brixton hat. I was like, this could be a good brand, and they started working with us. We were very lucky that like all these that
got in there earlier.
That sort of streetwear kind of trend was really kind of hitting, and there was just like a kind of explosion of new brands around that sort of 2007 2008 sort of time. So we had a good kind of like portfolio of brands at that point. I think Huff had he just got Huff at that point around about 2008. And anyway, like Ross, I remember Ross having this like conversation with me again, like he was getting real worried about what was going on. And was like, right, I think I want to get rid of all the skate brands, like all the kind of skate hardware brands. So I was like, well, I'll do it. Like, if you're going to get, like, I had relationships with the people there. So basically, Ross agreed to like I was going to take on the skate brands. But what I did like insist on is like, was Diamond's a skate brand. They make skate hardware. Like, I got to take Diamond, like that's and Ross did agree to it. And in February 2009, like I started like Rock Solid basically. And the reason I called it Rock Solid is I wanted it to sound reliable. So like and there have been like I worked in like this publishing company called it was in like information management. There was a company called Iron Mountain. I was like, well, that sounds really reliable. That an Iron Mountain is not going on. I want something like Iron Mountain. I want to be like rock solid. And like, I was like, I want to sound reliable. However, what I did not realize was I also sounded like a Viagra company. And for months, I don't think I get them anymore, but like actually years. Like I had so many emails about Viagra. Like I just wanted to sound reliable.
You ever start distributing it on the side?
No,
Viagra.
We now make stickers
on the Viagra packet.
On the Viagra packet. So and so at that point, that would have been February 2009. Yeah, kind of ran with it. Put like a bit of stock in my parents' house. The financial crash had happened, and obviously, like, it was bad times. I'd also, my life at that point, like, kind of like I was at a weird. You look back, and think I was like probably 30, if that. Like, I was at a weird cross point in my life. So, me and my girlfriend at the time had bought our first flat. It's when you get 100% mortgage. Unfortunately, can't get any more, and. We then, I started Rock Solid in 2009. Me and her then split up. I'm like, oh shit, this is not good. Like, and then I went to speak to the estate agent, and the estate agent was like, yeah. I was like, well, I split up with my girlfriend. Do you think I could sell my flat? He was like, looked at what we paid for it. Yeah, you can sell your flat. I was like, oh yeah, okay, great. For about 50 grand less than you paid for it. I was like, okay, this is not good. And then so basically, I just ran Rock Solid from. I literally lived in like this 2-bed flat in St. Paul's in Bristol, and just ran it out of that like flat. And like I'd always put first floor on the address to make sound like an office, not a flat. And I worked 7 days a week. I worked at my friends at the weekend. I would work at my friends he had a fireworks. It was fireworks, kind of legal highs and
Viagra.
No Viagra. No, it was NOS, laughing gas basically. Yeah. And I worked there on like the weekend and just worked in that flat for about 2 years. And definitely
So were you doing everything?
I was doing
you
everything.
Were speaking to all the stores.
I was doing all the sales, and obviously
chasing up the bills.
Yeah, doing everything. And I had sales experience from doing the publishing stuff. So I was kind of I could chat skateboarding all day, and had a kind of I thought I had a good idea of what's going on, and like slowly but surely, like Diamond was doing good. Ace Trucks started coming up. Then like Benny got like second at the Game of Skate at the Berwick, so we were selling his board that was doing good, and then we kind of slowly but surely kind of started like building a good kind of portfolio of brands. Then like I remember being so stoked when like I was like, okay, I think I can like move out of like my flat, because it was like you wake up in the morning, like boxes are everywhere. It's like,
well, I got told that at one point there was like boards were stacked and piled in the bathtub. So
not in the bathtub.
Was it not?
It was in my kitchen. In my kitchen. The bath was sacred.
Because I always wondered, like, when I got told it, did you go take the boards out, get in the bath, dry, put the boards back in?
Not in the bath. It was the kitchen. It was in my kitchen. It was just like piles and piles of boards.
Did you make any shelving or anything, or was it?
Yeah, but for some reason I never even thought. I never thought about that. I never had any shelving. But when we moved from, I never realized why I didn't have any shelving. But then we moved to this basically I decided to. My friend had a bar called the Big Chill Bar in Sewell Street in Bristol, really, really central, right next to the Crown Court, and I had an office in there, and I thought I was living the dream. I finally got some. I got a business. I'm above a bar, and I got some shelving. And we still have some of the similar. We still have the shelving actually today, and we got like 3 bays of shelving, and like. I started working with this girl Sophie, who was awesome. She did like a lot of PR and stuff. So she worked in PR and she helped out with Rock Solid, and she was brilliant at making us look way bigger than we were. So that was really good.
How did she do that?
She did it by like getting we would get like. Front magazine was massive at the time, so we'd always she would work with a lot of the front magazine models, and we get like a diamond beanie on stuff or whatever brand it was. Like she was really good at that, and probably started I kind of learned on social media from her. So she was a bit younger than me, so we were one of the first distributors to have a Facebook or a Twitter or like Instagram we had, and we kind of I really learned a lot from her on that, and I was like, okay, cool, this it was time of social media kind of hitting skateboarding, and we kind of we used that to our advantage for sure, and then we did a few years in the Big Chill Bar above that. Unfortunately, we got broken. That was horrible. We got broken into at Christmas time. That was a nightmare. And they didn't really I remember we were obviously. I remember the day that we were getting a delivery, and at the time, you remember Stereo did the sort of penny cruisers, and
they were hot shit.
Yeah, they were that was
came in the little boxes. And,
yeah,
I got one of those.
Yeah. So that was that. That was really good for us. But I remember there was some guys and there was dramas outside that court all the time, and I remember these guys were look, because we just had boxes that said Stereo on it, and we were just moving these boxes in. I remember these guys looking over, being looking a little sketchy, and then those guys broke into our office. I don't know if it was those guys, but someone broke into the office that night, and obviously realized they'd broke into a small skateboard distribution company. I remember they took some diamond bearings called diamond rings, and obviously they weren't but what they did nick was our computers, and at the time it wasn't cloud based, so luckily they stole laptops and stuff, and it was a nightmare because it was my spreadsheets were of who owes us money and all that sort of stuff. Thank God for USBs. There was I was in. It was horrible. I was nearly in tears. I spent my whole Christmas trying to piece together a spreadsheet of who owed us money, and everyone was cool, and it all kind of worked out, I think. But that was kind of a bit of a bump in the road. And then I was I think I probably should get out of the bar. And what we were doing was was working out of a kind of like sort of storage sort of space when we had bigger orders, and then they basically are like, do you want to move in? And it's kind of like this big open plan space. I was like, yeah, but we need internet. And they were like, yeah, we can provide that. And like, yeah, that was like, it's in an old tobacco bond building. And yeah, it was really cool. Like they basically like, we took some space and they were like, you can have some more space. And we kind of grew with them basically. So
And that's where
that's where we are
now.
now.
Oh,
And
nice.
like, and now we like, yeah, we took, now we're basically like, we're very lucky. We have a really good relationship with them. And we have, a big amount of space to hold all our stock. Then next door, when we get like a big delivery, there's like huge warehouse space. So like we can use it when we need it basically.
That's so handy, isn't it?
Yeah, it's right next to what was like Dave's side and like the now curbside DIY spots, and it's like 10 minutes walk from Dean Lane, 10-minute cycle to Lloyds, so it's a really good spot.
Well,
Sorry, that was a bit long-winded.
No, it's
Oh, no,
good. That's good.
that's
That's
what
what
we
we want.
There's still a load of on Rock Solid here.
Yeah, just working out where to go with that. Like, how do you want to?
Well, I guess since we were like talking about one of the questions was actually being a fan of the brands that you distribute, and you help a lot of smaller brands as well.
Yeah, can I bring up my brands to make sure I don't forget?
I mean, your brand listing on the B2B is.
You want to get it on that TV there, Ed? Rock Solid Distribution on the brands.
You have got a lot of brands. How do you like?
Yeah, I mean, like,
let's say like most they come to you, or do you go to them, or how does it work?
It's a bit of a mixture of me approaching them, or people coming to us. Like we still reach out. Like we just started working with Jordan Taylor's belt company, Lucy, and we reached out to them, and like we're very. We just always like. I love that's what Rock Solid is based on.
So is this another extension of your skate nerdery?
Yes.
That you're like
Yes.
you look. You're always looking. You see these brands, and you're like, maybe they need a UK distributor.
Yeah, I mean, this is basically like I've realized that this is my talent is the skate nerdery side. And I probably, like I said a few years ago, I probably resented it, but I've embraced it. But yeah, this is what I realized that I'm good at is like, that brand's cool, and like and I also like, I mean, as we all know, like skateboarding, everyone like has their little vision of what skateboarding is, and like whether it be they're like a kind of anti-hero guy or a primitive guy or FA guy, whatever, or FA any person, not guy, and I like the wide spectrum of skateboarding. Obviously, there's certain things I really love, and certain things that always will be with me. But like, I like all different aspects of skateboarding. And I've always tried to make Rock Solid like, a kind of like a broad portfolio of all the different types of skating.
Very varied across the pond of like the brands that you've got.
Yeah, I've worked hard to make it varied.
Yeah,
and like. Yeah, and it's in like, so yeah, to answer your question, yeah, it's because I'm a nerd and I'm like, on Slap looking at things and looking at Instagram and like, and and everyone in the office is on that as well.
Well, you're all skateboarders, aren't you?
Yeah.
Like you're full, in it. That's your thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
It sounds like you got your ear to the ground with it. I can't remember. It might have been Martin that I was talking to when I said about you coming on, and Martin was obviously giving you high praise as well from Slugger.
That's very kind.
And he was like,
thank you, Martin.
He's like, if he's got a break, he's skating, and if he's not skating, he's researching on the forums and he's reading about this. Whereas like when I switch off from here, I just switch off. Like I don't get on my break. I'm like, last thing I'm going to do is I do like Slap forum all the time. I think that was one of our first proper conversations or calls was about something on Slap forum.
Yeah, because
last year
they were being very positive about your filming for the Ace video,
which is insane for Slap forum to actually be positive about something. But I remember that day reading it on Slap, and Ed was in the shop, and I was like, oh, someone said some really nice stuff about Slap. And then I looked at my phone and you messaged me, and I was like, oh, the guy that distributes Aces just messaged me. It all happened within like 30 minutes from reading something on Slap, and I was like, oh, they're listening. Rock Solid is listening.
Rock Solid is definitely.
But yeah, I couldn't believe that some guy was just like, I saw Forde film some Dead Dave stuff. Like, he should film the next one. And I was like, fucking get it from Slap. When they can be quite, I hate to use the word, but quite toxic on there. It can be quite a bad place.
Just a bit.
Yeah, definitely. And like, yeah. And like, it's funny, isn't it? I'm not a poster on Slap. I'm just a lurker.
Same.
But yeah, it does give you a kind of, it can be toxic, but it also gives you a good, like, two sides to things, and like, and,
Kind of like
look
a
at
good gauge, isn't it?
Yeah, good gauge of like of what's going on, and like, yeah, sometimes I agree with it, sometimes I don't, but it gives you like, yeah, it's a good way to kind of like see what people are thinking.
Yeah.
And sometimes you're like, I don't agree with it, and other times, yeah, okay, like I see that. And it's also a good way, like, for me, it's like, oh, okay, it's really interesting sometimes when, like, we get a new brand and they put like a new edit out, and like, it's like, oh, okay, it's like the Slap dudes are liking it. That doesn't also necessarily mean it represents the same in sales.
Yeah.
But it's like, like,
it's quite interesting, isn't it? Like, a brand coming out of a new edit, does it do much these days? I don't think it does.
I think it does push the needle a little bit, but like in terms of like, yeah, people like, that I don't know, Swim, for example, was a new brand, and like, basically, like, I think it puts people, this is a cool brand, and like, it
does it equate to sales?
I don't know if it might not equate to sales, but it equates to like people looking at the brand.
So it raises awareness.
Yeah, definitely.
So, I mean, that's, yeah.
And then it may equate to, I think it's very hard nowadays for smaller brands to kind of break through because there's so many.
Yeah.
But so it just takes longer.
Yeah. Have you had any brands approach you, like big brands, that you've not managed to? I guess you couldn't say, could you? Some big ones that...
I'm trying to think. I mean, like, we've lost brands, but it's just the ebb and flow of being a distributor.
Yeah.
And like, I've never fallen out with any of the distributors that have done that, because it's just, unfortunately, that's what happens. Not wood, not wood. It hasn't happened for a minute. And sometimes it could be just something that, like, completely out of your control, where, like, say for instance, one brand, a good example is, two good examples actually, and we have a really good relationship with the guys at Keen. Is like, for example, like Frog, we distributed literally since it was like out of like Mango's apartment in New York, but then like, they were distributors with our friends at Hyperion, which is like Weekends distribution company. So that was like that's a really nice kind of tie-in. But then they went off and started working with like Pontus, and like kind of became like sort of Polar's sort of sister brand. And that's just unfortunate. It's one of those things. I remember speaking to the Weekend guys and be like, yeah, see, they're like, all the Frog guys are writing for Last Resort. And I kind of thought, hang a sec, there's probably going to be some kind of tie-in with Polar here. And that's just what it is, you know? And like, yeah, it's just one of those things.
It's, when I opened up the brand list today, I was like, oh, Metal Skateboards. Have you ever spoke to Fred Gould directly?
No,
I met him last time. Last time I was in the States, I met him.
Did you have that similar thing, skating curbs with Lucero?
Yeah, that was cool. That was like, it was my friend Chris from Deer Skating. He's like, yeah, we're gonna go skate the cop curbs. And
which one's that?
They're like basically near a police station in Huntington Beach.
Yeah.
And yeah, like, he's like, I'm gonna meet John. It was with Skip Pioneer.
Yeah.
It was like a black label.
Pronier.
Skip Pronier.
Skip, sorry.
Is it Pronier?
It probably is Pronier. I'm bad at surnames.
Can you Google that? Skip Pronier. Pronier. I think it is. Now I've said it, I'm doubting myself just before.
And it was Max Evans, which is another OG kind of black label guy, and John Lucero. And that was really cool.
Yeah.
And who else was there? He's big on Instagram. Roller
Surfer.
Ben
Koppl.
Yeah.
Yeah, I met up with him in Barcelona like years before like getting on blast and stuff, and that dude is like it's like he's got the cheat code on for skating. Just watching him skate, it's in like the way you can get out of tricks and make it into a new trick is insane.
Yeah, he was really cool. Yeah, I'm you know, I may be old, but I'm not a great slappier. And I was like trying to do like I think I was trying to do like what was I trying to do? I was trying to do a slappy like feeble, which I can and can't do. And like he was like, he just gave me a little was like, oh, you got to do it like this, and I did it straight away. And I was like, this is amazing. But yeah, like John Lucero was cool. That was like, you know, because he's the you know, inventor of the slappy, you know. And he was really nice. And it was, you know, and I was a fan of like early Black Label. So that was very cool.
I got told by some of your mates that you've skated and met quite a couple of legends. Like what was the list here? If any of this is accurate, they might just be pulling my leg.
Hanging out with the Musker,
like, Jamie Thomas, Beeble, like all like.
Where
does all that come?
Right. So let me. Jamie Thomas. That was through. I didn't really skate with Jamie Thomas. I just took him to a bar in Bristol because it was Dan Evans. It was when they were doing Fallen.
Yeah.
And Dan, who I was friends with, he just called up. Was like, "Oh, I've got the Fallen team here. Where do I need to take them?" And I was like, "Right, come." And I just met up with them, and like I just walked in with Jack Curtin, like Jamie Thomas into our like local bar. And my friend, like, I didn't tell my friends. I just literally walked into them, and they're like, "Oh my god, why are the Fallen team here?" And like, that was fun.
Jack Curtin on Fallen didn't really make much sense, did it?
It did, but it kind of did and didn't. But I kind of like those. I like that kind of juxtaposition of putting like, and then
fresh with the hesh.
Yeah, the fresh with the hesh, because DGK and Zero had done a fresh versus hesh kind of tour years before that.
DGK and
Barrier Call. Oh, it's insane. It's like I actually really like DGK. It's not necessarily a company that like I will like skate their boards or dress how they dress, but it's always been a solid team. Yeah, that DGK Barrier Call collaboration. It's like sweet and sour, isn't it? It's like so odd.
Yeah,
it's such an odd collaboration.
But I think those are the collaborations that are like most interesting.
Yeah,
when it's like, okay, that shouldn't make sense. Oh, it kind of does make sense, and the way they present it and stuff was really cool.
And he's getting them in as well. He told me earlier that he's getting some in because I want to.
Yeah, I've ordered it.
I want to get one of those boards. They're so sick.
Let's just go back to Rock Solid a bit more. What's been the biggest? Financially beneficial to Rock Solid brand that you've ever done?
I mean, we are like again working with brands from the very beginning. Like, I mean, Buttergoods is like those guys are so lovely to work with, and we have
sells good,
and it does really well, and it like and you know we really we've worked with the brands for 10 years, so we've seen it really grow, and we're really we work so closely with them, and I really like those guys and hung out with them. They've come to the UK and I've hung out with them in LA. They're from Perth in Australia. And that's been that definitely keeps the lights on.
Yeah.
But then, over recent years, we've been really lucky to work with brands like Skate One, like these kind of like legacy brands. And then and last year, like Tom Nieto. And that's been really good. But I mean, really what kind of got kind of the kind of ball rolling for Rock Solid was Diamond and sort of Diamond's sort of heyday.
When you work with someone like Skate One, do they have, obviously because going from Shiner to you, Shiner being like well established, been around for decades and decades, did they have expectations that were kind of made up by how much they sold through Shiner?
Yeah, I mean, you can put in what you want. I mean, I can tell that story, but basically, I went to the campus trade show, and there was like a rumor going around that like Shiner weren't working with like Skate One, and I remember saying to someone, like, I can't remember, maybe it was like Sam Pulley or someone, and I was like, don't be ridiculous.
Yeah, because they've been there for years.
Since like, late 70s, like those guys have been like working with each other. Like, I think you've got that, like, they've got that wrong. And like, and then the next day it was like, no, like they're definitely not working. And then like there was I think that day, like Shiner put the email out saying that like they're sort of splitting up with them. I was like, oh my goodness, like.
It's like the end of a 30-year marriage, isn't it?
It's like getting,
like getting a
longer,
divorce.
I think it's like 40 something years.
Yeah.
And I like Chris and Charlie have always gotten well with really would go, still do go for coffees with Chris Allen, one of the co-owners of Shiner. And I was, obviously like it's Powell, and I was like, I wouldn't mind putting my hat in the ring, and like and so I just text Chris. I was like, look, I don't know what's going on, and I really hope this isn't cheeky, but do you have an email address for someone? Like, and I didn't know if that was cheeky or not, but I just wanted to be like, just up front. And then like Chris sent me this lovely message, kind of like, Wes, like, here's the email, like, let's meet for a coffee.
How did it come to,
Chris
to you getting it?
Yeah, so Chris just like, he had this coffee, he was like, I want you to do it. I was like, what? He was like, I really want you to do it. And I was very blown away. And he, gave me the email address. He definitely put like the reason we're doing it was because of Chris. He put a really good word in. They came back.
Big up Chris Allen.
Yeah, like thank you, Chris. I'll
Shout
be
out,
forever
Chris.
grateful for you. And I think he hopefully knows that. But yeah, that was basically him putting in a good word. Then I got sent an email. Started started sort of talking with them. They put forward, they want us to put forward a kind of like a big kind of like sort of like not like business plan, but it was like a kind of like a big kind of questionnaire and stuff. And we everyone at Rock Solid really like worked so hard to kind of like give all the information they needed, and like. And I also made it clear that we are not, we're not Shiner. We are not, we've been in business at that point, business like, 13, 14 years. Like, on, I think a couple of days before my birthday, I get an email from George Powell asking if we'd like to be,
direct from the P man.
Yeah, I could not believe, like it was, it was absolutely nuts.
Yeah.
And then before you know it, like a couple of weeks later, like me and Leo flew over, and like, we've been working with them ever since, and like, it's been amazing. And like everyone at Rock Solid works really hard with all our brands, and like I think I think they've hopefully they enjoy working with us. And yeah, it's a crazy thing, but it was. I do put it down to Chris Allen.
For sure.
A good word.
Yeah.
Surely that's like that childhood dream, isn't it? Where you mentioned in earlier, like from watching Powell videos and stuff, and then becoming the sole distributor for it in the UK.
And like, and like, I was worried to answer your question properly. I was really worried on like, like.
Their expectations
and like the volume that Shiner can do, if you compare it to us, it's like it's going to be much bigger because they're a much bigger and older company.
I guess Skate One probably hadn't changed distros much in their time. They're probably quite
loyal to the
set in their ways with who they've had from.
Yeah, well, I think
one.
they're very relationship based.
Yeah.
And yeah, like. I guess like they've been there since Chris has done his work experience at Powell in the early '80s, so he knows the brand like so well, and there was a really solid relationship there. But
give us a little insight into the day-to-days at Rock Solid. Like what's involved in running a skate distro for anyone out there who's thinking about starting their own skate distro? I mean, I'd probably advise not to, but
and how big's your team and its departments?
I mean, this is I am very, very lucky to work with an amazing bunch of people, and I've learned on the job of kind of like running a team, and it's not easy, and I probably in the past definitely could have been been better at handling certain situations. But yeah, like, you know, the you know, this is a nice opportunity to thank everyone at Rock Solid, and I hope they know how much I appreciate all their hard work. But basically, there's Pat, and Pat is kind of like the sort of the general manager of Rock Solid. Then there's Leo, and Leo is on, as you guys know, on the sales side.
Big up Leo.
Big up Pat as well.
Yeah.
Big up Pat.
Big
Pat,
up, yeah.
Pat is the rock in Rock Solid. That's like, Pat's been there for like.
Who's the solid in Rock Solid?
That's solid. I don't know. Everyone's the solid, but Pat is definitely the rock. So yeah, like basically, Pat makes sure, like, once everything hits Rock Solid and before, he's making sure it like comes in, goes out, like, and making sure everything runs smoothly. There's Anna, who is our kind of like creative. You know, our emails and or the whole look of our site is Anna, and she also runs like the kind of e-com stuff for us. Then there's Ben, who runs all our kind of like marketing and social media. Leo, I think I mentioned, does the sales. And then there's Harry, who does a lot of the kind of operations side of things, but also helps Leo out on the sales. And then there's Connor, who's our kind of accounts guy. And yeah, we've got like a kind of day at Rock Solid. Like, yeah, basically, like, sort of, yeah, everyone comes in, like, it's, you know, we have like sort of catch up with everyone in the morning. What I tend to do is, what do I do? I'll help, like, getting, you know, doing this kind of logistics of getting all the like kind of orders from China, from America. Like, Pat helps me with that as well. I do a lot of I do all the pricing. Like, I kind of, you know, we have good communications, like, with our brands. They're always like chatting with the brands, looking at marketing ideas. Like, you know, I'm definitely I definitely do quite a few hours, and, like, you know, I come in on a like kind of Sunday evening usually, and I'll do a sort of to-do list for everyone, so everyone's got that, and we kind of work on that basically. So everyone comes in on Monday, they're like, right, cool, the to-do list is in. This is what our plan is. Yeah, so I kind of like I kind of work with all the different, like, you know, I've chatted to Leo's like every day about sales, and, like, you know, making sure that we've got all our pre-books in and all that sort of stuff. So I'm in from, like, you know, Monday to Friday, like 9:30 to, you know, 5:36, and, like, you know, we have, I think we've got a really nice team, and I'm really grateful to work with, like, you know, really awesome people. And like I said, it's definitely taken me a while to kind of learn, you know, how to be a manager, but, you know, knock wood, I'm doing an all right job.
Yeah, I mean, you know, when your name comes up in conversation, I don't hear anything negative about you at all, and I'm not just saying that because you're sat here.
Oh, that's very kind.
But, like, you know, like when Smithy called earlier, he was like, Wes is the person that everybody wants to be.
You definitely don't want to be me.
As doing Rock Solid and being involved in skating all the time, has it ever, like, dampened your actual skating? Has there ever been times when you've been like
over it?
No, do you know what? Like, it's funny. I'm like, no is I've done a proper 9-to-5 job where I've had to wear a suit and shit.
You
like,
know what that shit's like.
I know what that's like, and, like, you know, I've, like, met so many grim jobs over the years. Like, it doesn't, and also, like, there's a big difference. I know it's definitely a thing within skating, like, where people, like, end up kind of hating skating or don't skate. And, like, for me, like doing Rock Solid, that isn't skateboarding. Obviously it is because I'm working skateboarding, but, like, it's not the physical act of going skateboarding. Like, you know, that's, you know, we could be selling baked beans. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's like,
or Viagra
or Viagra. We'd probably make more money from selling Viagra, but yeah, like, yeah. So, like, no, I never, like, sometimes, you know, like, sometimes, you know, when things don't go right, and it's like, you know, there's the stresses and strains of running a business, but it's never, I never like kind of, you know, think of that as skateboarding. Like, that skateboarding is still really fun for me, and I'm, you know, very lucky to still be doing it. So no, I don't, like, yeah, I haven't gone over, oh, I fucking hate skateboarding, but no, like, because of what I do. Never, you know, and touch wood, I never, you know, like, I think it's sad when people, I think, you know, I can see why it could happen when people kind of slightly fall out of love with skateboarding because they're they're working in it. And yeah, it definitely happens, but knock wood, it hasn't happened to me yet.
Was there anything else you want to talk about Rock Solid?
There's still, well, is there anything that you want to get across with Rock Solid? Like, what's your future with it, with Rock Solid?
In terms of like just, every day, or every day, that's a massive exaggeration, but every year we try and make Rock Solid better, whether it be the B2B, or the, just the way we work, and we're always trying to
just improve on it.
Yeah, just improve on it. But the dream is, I'd love to it's probably, I'll be 65 by the time it ever happens, but I'd love to buy a warehouse and kind of similar to what you guys have got with the skate park, that have a really a really nice good little area to skate indoors, heated with a sauna and a shower and a little warm-up gym. I
noticed earlier, just on that note, your skipping routine for the warm-up, is that really helping?
Yeah,
because
you pre-skate, because you skate all the time as well.
You're in your 40s, aren't you? So.
I'll be 47 in
so we're pretty much bang on the same age, aren't we? Yeah. So how do you manage to keep skating well into your 40s?
Which
sounds so weird. Skateboarding.
You just keep doing it.
Yeah, don't stop.
But I have my friends make fun of me but I definitely foam roll. I've just started Pilates, reformer Pilates, which is the Pilates on a would be a medieval stretching table. That I've been doing that. I've got. I know you're getting these questions from my friends, but I've got a Theragun.
But they actually work.
Yeah, they're definitely
really
work.
Good.
Really good. I cycle into work every day.
Yeah, you got to keep moving. Haven't you?
Swimming.
Use it or lose it.
Yeah, no, definitely.
But the skipping's quite a good one. I mean, I can't skip. I've got the coordination of.
Oh, I loved it earlier on that skipping.
You had a good style.
Yeah,
not quite Gino, but I'm nearly there.
I'm there with skipping. I used to.
You're quite Gino.
I used to do it.
No, not quite Gino.
Oh, not quite Gino.
I used to do it quite often, just skipping, get the doubles, get the cross arm, and then mid swinging it backwards and crossing it. Yeah. I want to go down after this and get skipping a little bit more.
We can do that.
Shall we do a skipping montage?
Yeah, we can do a little. But it's a really good way of
it gets your blood going, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely. There was a weekend skit actually where they were all the all the kind of older weekend riders were they were bringing out the mobile gym, and I'm definitely guilty of that for sure.
I mean, look at all that stuff you brought with you here. That's
it's like he was moving in. Yeah. That was another question from one of your mates. Ask him about his 3 outfit changes or something. So arriving outfit, skating outfit,
he has changed 3 times.
Podcast outfit. What's that about? Because you came on the train with a massive suitcase, like you were going to Heathrow.
Well, because you asked me to bring some stuff up, so I brought some, and I went back to the office last night. I was like, shit, I've got issues, definitely hoarding issues, and basically I was trying to get some little bits and bobs for the wall, and and I kind of brought up probably more than I should.
On that note, what is the most valuable, rarest thing you've collected from skateboarding all these years?
I don't think I'm a collector. I think I'm a hoarder.
Okay,
but
what's the difference?
I'm not. I don't buy stuff off eBay. I'm very lucky because obviously I work with brands where
you can get stuff.
You can get stuff.
But what is the difference between a hoarder and a collector? Is a collector someone who I think organises it?
Yeah. Well, my magazines are in year order and stuff. They're
chronological order.
Yeah, they're pretty well organized. But I'm, and no disrespect to anyone, but I'm not searching at, there's all those I'm a member of them, but I'm not involved in them actively. People are after that certain board and stuff like that, and
I think collecting's getting and selling as well.
Yeah, I don't do any of that. No.
Whereas hoarding is getting and hoarding it literally.
Yeah, I'm literally hoarding it, and I'm very lucky that I have a little bit of space that it's literally all. If anyone comes to Rock Solid,
Which
it's
we're
literally
going
behind.
to.
Yeah. It's literally
Yeah, we're
behind
going to
me.
come and visit. I want to see it. I've heard about it.
And
What's one of the most valuable, rarest things you've collected then?
To
'Cause
you, that's most valuable to you. Sentimental.
So I guess like my first board. That's nice. I was really like Tidy Mike used to work at Shiner, and like this is years ago. I bought like a Natus like kitten board, not kitten board, the scratchy cat board. I got the Lance Mountain kind of like kid board, the Iron Gate Tommy Guerrero. I think
Was that from the new old stock?
no, that was from the old. This is
stock.
old.
The stuff they had on that list that we spoke about. Who did we speak to about that?
It was
The
we
list
spoke
went
to
out.
French about it when he worked at Shiner for a
And there
period
was
of time.
stacks of the old stuff.
Yeah,
It's interesting.
I bought it for like 20. Like it was like 20 quid a board.
I remember seeing the list.
It's interesting with skateboarders, isn't it? Because you do notice you certain areas, like you got your board collectors, your video collectors, and then deepest basement dwellers, sticker collectors.
Yeah,
Bobby
Polio, big
they're the
sticker
ones.
collector.
Big sticker collection. I'd say my rarest thing that I've had for years. I've got 2 videos. One's video days, shrink wrapped.
Oh my
which
goodness!
is good. One of the guys that used to work at Coliseum Skate Shop, which obviously did the PJ Ladd video, gave me the first Coliseum video. It's a similar case to the Anti-Hero 2 songs cover, where it was just black with the middle cut out, so there's no labels apart from the one on the video. So I've got that from the OG Coliseum shop with the original Coliseum Skate Shop T-shirts with the skyline of Boston on it.
That's cool.
And then video days, and they're just sat in a cupboard.
Yeah, I mean, this is the whole thing, isn't it? Like,
you get it, and then just go, oh yeah,
that's cool. I'm like, my wife was like, oh, Wes, there's some guy like on, I think it's like Facebook Marketplace was giving away like skate videos last year, and Plan B Questionable was like, obviously one of my favorite videos.
Shat his pants when you first seen that. What was it? Questionable when you was like when you first saw that you were like the skating is insane.
Couldn't sleep after it.
Yeah,
It was up all night. It's
Yeah, they're
what
like,
have I
wow,
just seen?
this is nuts.
Did you get that on VHS?
Yeah, but the guy was just giving it away because I had a copy of it, but it was like a dubbed copy. Like Tony would just like, I didn't have much money, so he'd come in and like go, all right, Wes, I'll stick it onto a tape for you, and then Love Child would come in and he'd stick that on there.
I think that was going on in most skate shops throughout
That's
the
good.
UK.
Only it was £30 in 1992
Yeah, mental.
for when you're 14.
I wonder how many copies they sold of that. It'd be interesting to know.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah,
because skateboarding was very small around then, but
I'm not sure. Like, how many do you reckon? Like in the UK?
Well, no, just in the UK,
300.
I don't even think it would have been that many.
Because yeah, probably not. I mean, it's a lot of money, but everyone saw it and everyone had a copy.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
It did the rounds, didn't it? But I wonder how many worldwide.
Have you got?
We have to ask Jake Rosenberg.
Have you got videotapes as well? We're collecting videotapes or hoarding. Have you got the original Static series?
Yeah,
I only got the latest one on.
Yeah, I've got
video.
I've got all the statics. I got a lot of DVDs and VHS. And it's quite nice now because people like it helped me kind of fill in the gaps because they've just gone like, I've got all these videos, Wes. Do you want them? And like,
I've had it twice in the shop that I used to work in with Tim in Leicester when it changed hands from Rollersnakes to the Ledge Skate Shop. That's where I started when I was 15. And then it happened once here where someone just comes in with videos every so often, like every 2 years. Someone will just be like, here's a bunch of videos. And then since doing this, like I'll get people message me like, oh, I've just looked in there for a bunch of videos if you want any for the backdrop. And it's like, yeah, sometimes if there's 20, there'll be like 16, 17 that you've had, or they're kind of just like kind of crappy. Then there's like 1 or 2 you see in it, especially when they drop them on the counter in the shop and you spot the 2 that you want and you're like, not bad, how much do you want from them? I've had them before and they're like, just have them, and you're like, fucking yes.
Yeah.
Go on. And yeah.
So where have you got all your stuff at home then? Have you got some? It's some at Rock Solid, right?
None of it is at home.
Okay, right.
Like there's a few, like there's some boards on the wall, but they're very like music related ones.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, it's all like, I mean,
your collection.
My like it's more like a museum at this point. But I don't have video days on original. I'm
your man.
Yeah. How much did you pay for it? If you don't mind asking.
I got given it.
Wow.
For my 23rd birthday from Sam North that owned the Boardroom skate shop, and I was the Boardroom skate park, and I opened it and I dropped it. I was just like fuck it. I was like fucking hell. It's like, and then the night that I got the VHS player when I lived at home and put it in. And I went to watch it and I was like, I'm going to watch Misled Youth first. I put it in and the tape player just froze, broke. And I took the tape out and it shredded the tape. And I was like, I'd rather Misled Youth than probably one of the most iconic street skateboarding videos of all time.
How much are you going to buy it off Forde then?
My wife had like a kind of alert on eBay, and she was like, just so you know, it's because I said that. What do you want for your birthday? I said blind video days on like, you know, on VHS.
How much were they going for on eBay?
It was like 250. She told me it's 250 quid. I was like, do not buy that.
No,
because
the tape's probably you can't watch it because the tape will expire.
And I got a VHS, but like. I'm not gonna. It's just gonna go. Oh, that's exactly what you said. It's just gonna go like in.
And the thing with that video as well is the cases aren't anything special.
No,
you know, like some of the stickers. My sticker goes perfectly, like, round the corner of the spine. Some were long. Some were. They were all random.
Well, I had the Jason Lee cyborgs.
I was going to ask if that's why you.
Yeah, I was very. Yeah, there was. I was. I managed to like grow a beard when I was about 13,
legend,
which was great for getting served. Jason Lee is that. Well, obviously that's that was we did distribute stereo, but yeah. So I was very inspired by Jason Lee's like cyborgs, and I was really into like Neil Young and the Beatles and stuff. And I was like, yeah, this is me when I was like 16, and it will help me get served as well. Getting to meet Jason Lee was really cool.
One of the heroes that I'd love to meet. I've even contemplated like just chancing going to his camera shop just to see if he's there. I've got a.
He's really cool. He's really really nice dude.
I've got a pretty good swap if you ever come across it for video days. A pair of the Pro Jason Lee Airwalk shoes from like 93, 94, 95, the tan brown ones.
Just as he was exiting,
if someone can get some of those in like immac condition, I don't want to wear them.
Didn't they re-release them recently?
I don't know about recently.
Just not as the Jason Lee one. Or there was
I think we had some here a while ago, just as standard. But
it would be. They could make Airwalk cool again. I think. They could
maybe start off by making stickers and slogan T-shirts, make Airwalk cool again, and then you buy it, distribute it, bang, Jason Lee.
If Airwalk came to you and said we want it to be UK distro, and we're re-releasing the Jason Lee shoe,
not in its current form, but like if
we're doing the Airwalk 540 Fahrenheit,
the Airwalk gyms, and like you could. I think a Japanese kind of really cool store called Beams did an Airwalk gym collab like a couple of years ago, which looked good.
Yeah.
But it would need a serious rebrand, cut all the what they do now, and then I mean that would be really cool, wouldn't it? But I don't know. It's probably making them a lot of money at the moment doing what it does.
Yeah,
and
maybe.
I doubt they're going to change it. But yeah, like Airwalk Enigmas.
It was good shit.
They were good. Yeah, that would be cool.
Talk to us about passing out and getting your face painted, and then like a tiger, and then not knowing about it.
It sounded like that shit used to happen quite a lot. Like one guy said that it was half of your face like sharpied in. Another person said they'd shave your eyebrows. So it sounded like you just got blackout drunk and you wouldn't.
Yeah,
realize.
I was a young skateboarder hanging around with older skateboarders, definitely showing off to them, trying to keep up with them when it comes to drinking, and I definitely have done a lot of passing out over the years. And I think
where's the best place you passed out?
I've passed out everywhere.
I've passed out. I think I get very sleepy when I drink.
I've been told very sleepy and huggy.
I'm very huggy, yeah, definitely. But yeah,
it's better than getting pissed and trying to smash everyone's head in like some people do.
Yeah, I'd rather that. And I swear, Pig Dog, this was you that shaved my eyebrow off. So I think I fell asleep. I got my eyebrow shaved off.
I think I got sent the footage of it.
Yes, there is some footage of it. How a mean thing to do to a 17-year-old lad.
See, this is the thing with skateboarding because there's always when you skate, there's always older people
Yeah.
that you skate with, and they just take advantage, take the piss. And how many eyebrows you had?
I've never had any
No, neither have
eyebrows.
I.
It
Been quite lucky.
really messes up your face.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And
Should we do
yeah.
yours now?
Yeah, dyeing blonde. Shall we all dye 'em blonde?
That would look kind of cool, but
When Mayte came and she had all this shaved off and that.
Shaved off
Oh,
blonde
no.
eyebrows.
it makes your face look weird. And my
Yeah.
dad thought I'd done it as like he was really angry with me. Thought I'd done it as like I was making some kind of fashion statement. And then
Did you colour it back in or anything?
No, what I did, there was two things that happened. I got so much trouble for this actually. So I was meeting up with this girl, and I had this I was like, oh man, I'm gonna look weird. And my friend had this idea. It's like, I know, let's get a fake moustache, and we'll cut you an eyebrow, and then you can put it on. I was like, oh, that's pretty good idea. So I did that. And then I was just on this date with her. It was really windy. It just blew off. That was my eyebrow. And then I went into college. And I don't know why I got in trouble at college, but I went to college the next day, and a girl kind of painted my eyebrow on, and I got told off for that as well.
Well,
So,
I mean,
yeah, that was mean older skateboarders.
Yeah.
And I was never mean to younger kids, I don't feel. But
That's I want to know about this. So tell us about getting arrested in Barcelona for drunk cycling the wrong way round a roundabout.
Yeah, that was someone. It was a friend's birthday, as I recall, and I wasn't the only one. We basically just you know what Barcelona's like. There was lots of skating, there was some drinking, and we went round the British way, round the roundabout,
Of course,
instead of going the Spanish way, and we literally cycled into the police, and they just saw us, and I didn't have any ID on me, and one of my friends was 5 times over the limit, or Arthur, my son, this is very stupid, so do not cycle drunk, and basically we had all our bikes taken away, and my friend had this idea. No, actually, I think it was my idea that if you bite on a coin, apparently it throws off the breathalyzer. So I was went back to the hotel, got me my ID, bit on a coin for a bit, and then came back and then presented it to the Spanish police, who did breath test us, and I was fine. But I still got my bike taken away.
How does biting on a coin?
I think it's an absolute. I think I just slightly sobered up because it took us half an hour of a time.
What was it?
It was a pain in the arse to our trip. They took our bikes. Then we obviously that's not good because we've hired these bikes, and then we had to go basically pay €200 to get the bikes back, and
they could be bastards, can't they?
Oh, it was
Spanish police.
But great, been to as many as we all did. It's good times in Barcelona.
Anything else you want to talk to Wes about?
I mean, the last thing we had was being a fan of Curb Your Enthusiasm, but I feel like everyone is a fan of Curb.
Yeah, I definitely love Curb Your Enthusiasm. But what was there any? I'm trying to think if there was anything I wanted to kind of cover.
Yeah, is there anything you want to talk about, Wes?
What's
your current? I've got one for you. Sorry to interrupt. What's your current thoughts on the skateboarding world at the minute? Where do you think skateboarding is? Do
you know what? One thing I did want to say. I think skateboarding, and forget I know skateboarding's in a dip industry wise right now, which obviously isn't great. But skateboarding as skateboarding, I think is people like to reminisce about the 90s and stuff, and obviously that was fun, but there was a lots of negative and toxic things about that time. Yeah. And I think skateboarding is the most positive it's ever been. I love all, it's so much more inclusive and diverse, and I think it's in such a positive spot that way. And I know people have different opinions about the Olympics and stuff like that. I really like it. I think it opens doors for so many different skaters, and there's so many different routes you can go within skateboarding now.
I tell you what, I'm people who get offended by the Olympics, I don't understand it. I'm more offended by people who do those crooked grinds with a little weak shove it out than the Olympics. You know, the 180 just drop that. I'm
Looking
more
at
offended
you,
by
Ed.
that than skateboarding in the Olympics.
I don't.
Like, people need to like
There's a-
readjust. They need to get offended by those crooked grind little dodgy shove it's out, right? Am I right?
like
No?
and then, like especially there
Cancelled.
there's men of like a certain age that like to like, and friends of mine, definitely friends of mine, like you know who you are, like really last year like was really going in on the Olympics. I'm like, it's just a competition.
Yeah, don't worry about
Like,
it.
don't worry,
Don't
you can
watch
still,
it.
Yeah, Bobby Pulio will still be skating cellar
Yeah.
doors. You know, you can still go skate a curb. It's not going to change your experience of
No.
skateboarding. And like,
But unfortunately, people are still doing the crooked grind with the shit shove it out. We need to stop that.
Stop looking
you
at
mean
Ed
the
when you say
little
that.
the little shove? You don't like it?
It's terrible.
I actually think if it's done, I don't hate on it that much.
I've seen Toby do them, so I don't know
don't.
why.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I don't do that.
I've seen Toby do them.
No, I need
multiple
to.
times.
You know the ones I'm talking about. I told off OG the other week.
How about if it's switch?
No,
Still
it
not-
just
still
doesn't.
not
It's
pass?
not right.
I think it's
no.
just the look and the movement of the
It's
trick.
just
that you don't
because
like,
you
isn't
put
it?
your board naturally on a crook wants to come out fakey,
Yeah.
and all you're essentially doing is a body variable when it's coming out, and it looks shit. I'm more offended by that. And people who grab frontside airs between their legs, they shouldn't.
Joe Hinson.
Yeah,
Oh, I have definitely done that. Man. I
That's-
try not to. I
that's
haven't
it.
done frontside grab for a long time.
That's
I
a
mean-
dig at Joe Hinson.
Yeah,
Have you
anyway.
got anyone else that you want to moan at before we wrap this up?
I mean, we could talk about how you do bonuses, but let's not get into that.
Who, me?
No,
The
not
proper
you,
way.
Not you. People who. No, that's right. Let's not get into that.
You have spoken about this before on the brain drain.
Doesn't matter. There's. Is there anything else, Wes? You want to talk about? So you think skateboarding? There's it's a very warm, welcoming environment.
Yeah,
apart from
like-
people who do the crook, shove it out, and grab
Yeah,
it.
I for the record, I don't have an issue with that.
Right.
But yeah, I think like it's in 2025. It's I think the most like positive it's
Yeah.
ever been, and yeah, I feel lucky to be still involved in it, and want to keep doing it. I was chatting to Leo at a Christmas party. And I was like, my aim is I still want him to be able to do frontside tail slides at 70.
Jesus,
That's I know, I've got a few more years.
Yeah,
But that's my aim.
Mm-hmm.
that's a good aim.
Yeah.
Like coming up to 50, I'm like, shit. I hope I can still do a tray flip at 50.
You'll be able to definitely.
I need to make sure I do a few every month. Just to.
Paul Shire,
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
looking, he's into. I think Shire. Correct me if I'm wrong. You're into Pilates, reformer Pilates. I'm pretty sure he's definitely done. some.
Reformer Pilates.
Yeah, it's hard, and it's what's inspiring about it. It's like I've been the only bloke, and it's the elderly ladies, and then like in their sort of late 60s, early 70s. They are really good at it, and like they got a really good style. And this lady was telling me she had a hip operation like a few months ago, and like I was just doing it really well. It's like, right, okay, I got to keep this up. So that's my new thing for 2025.
Well, you'll definitely be doing frontside tail slides at 70 then.
Well, we'll see.
You keep doing the
We'll see.
Pilates.
Yeah, we'll see.
Should we wrap it up there then?
On that note, I think it's still quite early. If you said your return train was at 6, you could go early, but you could also still have a skate if you want to change a couple of times out of different outfits, and then we'll go skate.
Yeah, thank you for letting me skate. I love skating your park and
The facility.
Yeah, your facility.
The compound.
And thanks for inviting me on this. Like I was when
We
you
are
hit me
very
up,
honoured that you've come
Yeah,
on.
I'm
I was-
stoked.
no one know who I am. You've had Skin, Don Brown, Mackie, Carl Shipman.
Where's
I was
Morgan?
like, I don't fit in that group.
No,
So
you
thank you very
absolutely
much
do.
for
You're
inviting me.
part of British skateboarding history now, and long live Rock Solid.
Oh, thank you very much.
And
And
mate-
long live Rollersnakes.
Make sure you come to the distro day as well.
Oh,
so
it
we
will
can-
be there. Definitely.
so we can do some more skating.
Definitely. I love skating your park.
Big ups.
Right,
There
on
we
that
go.
note, let's get booking a flight so I can go on
Yeah,
this
yeah.
Rock Solid trip.
Thank you.
Right,
Cheers, guys.
see you later.
Bye.